Hey everybody, John here from Auto Club of California Speedway, otherwise known as Fontana, for a Class B Fixed Series race. This is my first race
Alright,
ever at
man, we're
this
going
track.
green next
Last
time by.
year,
Alright,
when
man,
the B
line up on
Series,
the
when
inside
all the
row.
series
Pit
were
road
here,
is closed.
I was
Head
not
clock,
in
20,
this country,
1,
so I didn't get to
hard.
race in this race. So I got to find out all the joys of racing at Auto Club, and it's a pretty fun track. It's it's tough, and I know I say that about all the tracks, but this track is very, very loose. It's very temperature sensitive, so a lot of the practices I did during the week, there was cloud cover, and the track was really tight, and there was a lot of grip. But here in the race, you can see the sun's out, the track's really loose, and very difficult to drive. Unlike a lot of the other tracks, though, in iRacing, when they get really loose, they're not a lot of fun.
Good luck,
Um,
man. Have fun.
this one is loose and rewarding. If you can get it, you can go really fast. Um, it's difficult, which I think makes it more rewarding. But this is probably one of the most difficult
Get
tracks
ready.
I've driven and one of the most fun tracks I've driven in iRacing. But here we go, green flag at Auto Club. Let's see what we can do here in our first race, starting in the 11th position.
Green, green, green.
Little check up there before the green flag, but here we go. Got this first big sweeping corner, and I'm going to start losing positions right off the bat. Guys are going to get real aggressive on these fresh tires. Just like in real life, the tires are going to go away very, very quickly. So guys are going to get aggressive on fresh tires. And these guys got a really good run on the outside lane, probably because the inside lane checked up so badly on the green flag. Once we get settled in, I'll try and show you where my marks were on the track, but right now I'm too busy going backwards to show you anything. But there you see the 14. I think he must have gotten into the wall off of turn 4, which is easy to do because you're really skating up the racetrack off of the 4th turn. And here, looping it into 1 and 2, I've got another 2 cars going by me here.
Clear low, clear low.
And the whole train, just everybody, just the whole field. Just
Stay high.
everybody's going to go by me.
Clear low, clear
Boy,
low.
how did get through there?
When the pressures are low on the tires, which is for the first couple of laps, the cars are very, very loose. And you can see me fighting the wheel a little bit here. Not as much to this corner, off this corner for sure. The cars skate, and you can see another one into the wall here.
Outside.
But definitely through the middle of
Clear
1
high,
and 2.
clear high.
So as you come into 1 and 2, the point to let off that I was using was that 2 board. I was kind of trying to loop it in, bring it down to the bottom, and it would tend to get loose right there where you saw those guys get loose.
Go low.
And I kind of get right through the middle of that one, and that's going to bring out the first caution flag.
Line up single file. Pit road is closed.
So there we go. First caution flag's out, and it's not me, so that's always a good way to start the race.
Man, that's 2 wrecks
Heads
on
up,
this
12. Hard.
Even though we're only a couple of
Yeah, I
laps
missed
into
the
this,
first, but not the
I
last
am pretty sure I want to come in for tires right now.
9 car, where you at?
Just because the tires do
pulled
go
in the
away
pit.
very quickly. You will lose, just like you saw in the race
All right,
today,
tell me
you
what
you
buy.
will lose significant
Heads up, 12. Hard.
time just in 3 or 4 laps or 4 or 5 laps on those tires. But as far as back in the field as I am, I don't think it'll hurt. So I'm kind of the mind right now that regardless of what the leaders do, I might as well come get tires. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? I end up
Yeah, I
mid-pack
got
or
it,
whatever.
I couldn't avoid you.
I mean, that's kind of where I am anyway. So I'm going to come get tires. We'll see what everybody else does.
It's like playing dodgeball back here.
Yeah, you definitely got to be on your game back here.
Pit road is now open.
So here we come into the pits, and everybody's going to do their tricky stuff and do their pit road fakes, which I wish they wouldn't do in iRacing. This is... leave that for real life. That can really screw somebody up in a sim, and it can actually get somebody a penalty in a sim, so... or in iRacing. So I wish people wouldn't do it, but they do, so whatever. Here we go, trying to find my pit stall. I'm going to take 4 fresh tires because they're important. It looks like most of the guys came in behind me. I think I stand a chance to only lose a couple of positions. And fresh tires are going to be important, but we're going to be starting on low tire temperatures again, so we're going to have to be careful about the car being extremely loose right off the green flag and for the next couple of laps. But until then, let's go to the replay and see what happened to bring out the first caution of the day.
Line up single file. It's the 13 car. It's the 12 car.
So here we go. Coming into the turn 1, we have the 7, the yellow 7, and the 4 coming in together. And from this angle, it just looks like the 4 drives it in hard and tags the 7 and puts him into the wall. And when I first saw it, I thought it was kind of a dick move. Here you have it from the 9's perspective. This is the guy that collects the 7. He had nowhere to go. He just got screwed. As you can see, nothing he can do. There's his engine blowing, and that's why iRacing goes insane. But now we look at it from the blimp cam, and you can see here the 7's kind of lost some momentum, and the 4 has a line coming into the corner. So this track's just so wide that it's really hard to tell when you're beside somebody. Again, particularly if you're using the iRacing spotter. You're so far apart from each other that it's hard to tell. So I'm not going to pin that on anybody. That's just, I think, part of racing at a track that's like this, where there are so many different ways to race it. There's no one lane you can take to race around this course.
Ready.
So I'm going to chalk that one up to just racing. And here we go. We had a big brake check coming to the green on the first restart of the day. I don't get a great restart. Not terrible, not good. Still, I don't know what's going on with those with me. I should be better. After a whole season, you'd think I would be. There I'm checking my outside. Wanted to get up into the high line to get a better angle into the corner. And I'm going to be real careful through here to make sure I don't do that.
Go low. All right, man, caution is out.
But it doesn't matter because we've got our second caution of the day.
Wow, that didn't take long.
No, it did not, Aaron. No, it did not. So we've got our second caution of the day. Again, on low temps, the tires just don't grip, especially through the middle of 1 and 2, and on the exit of 3 and 4. The cars really skate, and it's real easy to lose them, and it's really easy to slide up into another vehicle. So here you go. Here's the restart. I'm not going to pit, obviously. I just took tires, so. Here we see the leaders taking the restart, and the third place car there gets a good restart. Comes into the corner and just gets loose there, catches the apron, and that's all it takes. It wasn't the apron that upset him though. He got loose coming into the corner. And that's what happens. That corner, it's very, very easy to do. Again, this track is a tough one, especially when those tires are cold. I'm sure catching the apron didn't help him, but if you saw the race today at all, you saw guys down all the way on the apron driving, so you just have to be really careful through 1 and 2, where you're getting on the gas and how much wheel you're giving it, because it will come around on you, and it did on that guy.
The pace car is in.
So here we go, in the top 10, restart number 2.
Green flag, green flag. All right, looks like you're in the top 10.
And we're off. Thank you, Mr. Spotter Man.
Inside. Say hi. Say hi. There's the car on the low side.
So here we are. I really want to let this 12 car, this Pennsylvania car, clear me, because I'd like to get down low. But I don't think that's going to happen. He slides up in front of me, which is a perfectly legitimate move. And now I don't want to back out. I didn't want to back out there because these, the B cars don't have as much horsepower as the A cars do.
Still there.
So you don't want to give up a lot of momentum. I didn't really know what to do there, probably a product of my inexperience. And there you can kind of see me get loose off of 4. So
Still there.
I probably should have I don't know what I should have done. If I should have backed off and stayed in line behind him. I didn't want to give up the momentum I had, but it ended up trapping me on the outside and set me off to lose all of these positions. Until I can, you know, eventually I'll be able to put it down in front of somebody, hopefully. But here I am in the same exact position where I've got momentum on the high side, but the high side's not where I want to be in this race car. I want to be able to put it down to the white line through 3 and 4 and in the middle of 1 and 2.
Stay high. All clear, all clear.
Here we go. I finally cleared the 10 here behind me. Able to get in line after losing a bunch of spots off of that start. Not my best effort. My line into 1 and 2 is a little different, and that's just because I know how loose 1 and 2 can be.
Stay high.
And there we have a little chaos coming off of there, that corner. Down the backstretch now, and you see these black marks on the track right there. That's my mark to let off. I'm trying to bring her down to the white line, back on the gas, and the car's just going to kind of skate up to the wall. And you're just kind of waiting for those tires to grab and bring it back down the track, down the front stretch, and set you up for another lap.
You're in the top 10.
Again, it's a really fun track to drive. This guy here, he's driving in really low, and that's fine. Go for it, bud. On new tires, you can do that. If we get a long run, though, those tires are going to go away real quick. So part of my line is, he's doing it. He's actually bringing it in pretty low in 3 and 4 too, in my opinion. So I really think he's going to be burning the tires off of this car. So we're going to try and save our stuff because this track is hard on tires. And see if we can't make up some spots. Get a top 10 finish. And, you know, first time at this track, and hopefully get a good finish incident-free. There you see my lower exit, or my later exit out of 1 and 2, starting to pay dividends, giving me a good run on this guy down the backstretch. I think his tires are already starting to go away. I think he's already overdriving 3 and 4. His tires are already giving up. He can't bring it in as low as he wants to anymore. And I'm going to get the position. And I'm trying to be super careful down here because that bottom line, boy, if you wash up, and it's easy to do, I don't want to take him with me. Hopefully now we can settle into a good rhythm. Again, a real fun track to drive, even if you're just out here by yourself. This is a fun one to drive, really challenging. Probably a more challenging track than even a lot of the road courses that I've learned to drive in this game. And there goes a big mess through 1 and 2. A lot of guys getting loose. I don't want to plow through there, but I don't want to stop. So I'm going to gain about 3 or 4 spots, but the guys behind me are not going to slow down at all. So I'm going to lose about 3 or 4 spots. It's just going to end up being a wash.
All clear, all clear.
For me, anyway, not for them. I'm going to be in the high line through 3 and 4, which is not where I want to be. The 23 is going to go by me. He was pretty quick. He started up front, and in the first incident, independently of the first wreck, he spun on his own in turn 1. Just kind of got lucky that caution came out because it wouldn't have been thrown for him spinning down to the inside. But he was quick. Everything kind of settles down, no caution flag, so we're going to keep going. Saw some racing this weekend at Auto Club or Fontana or whatever it is you want to call it, and Kyle Larson, wow. What a statement he made. winning the Xfinity race on Saturday, and then the Cup race today, second win of his career. Strong performance today. Stronger performance in the Cup race, I would say, than the Xfinity race, actually. He won the Xfinity race kind of, I don't think, there you go, look at that, getting loose right through the middle of the corner. But I think yesterday when he won the Xfinity race, Logano was clearly the class of the field. And then he kind of won it through a series of cautions and situations at the end of the race. And good for him. And I think I think I've said it multiple times, I think he's a phenomenally talented driver. But today, qualified on the pole for the Cup race and then just dominated that event. So when you look at the last 5 events from the 42 car, you have a second place at Homestead. You have Daytona, where I can't remember exactly where he finished at Daytona, but he could have won the race, but he ran out of gas. Second place at Atlanta, second place at Phoenix, second place at Vegas, and now, or second place at Vegas, second place at Phoenix. Sorry, I had those backwards. And now wins at Auto Club. I mean, he is just absolutely on fire. And it's kind of a funny thing to see. They are aligned with Hendrick this year, where they're getting technical data from Hendrick, they're getting parts from Hendrick, which is new. The technical alliance with Hendrick is new. And I think you're really seeing that bear a lot of fruit. And it's funny that he's running so much better. McMurray's running better too than all of the Hendrick cars, with the exception of Chase Elliott. I mean, Larson's running better than all the Hendrick cars, period. But I mean, that guy, I've said it for a long time, if you put him in a ride that was close to the rest of the field, he was going to really do some big things. And there you go. You can see how loose this thing is. That he was going to do some really, really good things. And I think you'd better watch out. If this holds up for the rest of the season, and you never know, we're what, 5 races in, 4 races into the year, so it's hard to judge, but he looks really good. The one thing I kind of texted my dad halfway through the race, and I was like, boy, you can tell he doesn't have a lot of experience getting to pit road under green. Every time they came to pit lane under green flag conditions, he would lose 2 or 3 seconds.
Thank you.
And this guy, this Matthew Napolitano dude, I don't know what his issue was. He was all over the place. He's blocking me. He was blocking the guys in front of him. A couple laps ago, I think you might have, if you were watching that, somebody doored him down onto the apron because he was frustrated with him. He's not, I don't know what his deal was, but
Yeah, he's just a dangerous driver ever.
yeah, here you go. This 20, Derek here is saying he's a dangerous driver. So here I am. I'm trying to keep as much distance
Yeah,
between
one inside.
myself and this guy as possible because I do not want to get wrecked. And in iRacing, when you're kind of coming around these guys and you can see their cars are all marked up, that's kind of a cue. That's called a clue. Keep your distance. And you can see here, I'm not sure what kind of line he's trying to run. So it's tough to set somebody up for a pass when they're not being consistent. When they're not consistently running the same line, you just don't know what to do. You don't know how to deal with that. But one thing you don't want to do is stare at their car and follow their dumb line like I just did there. So here we go. I feel like he's really starting to hold me up. but I don't want to hit him. I don't I don't want to get into any on-track incident with him for sure. So hopefully we can get by him incident-free, but I think he's kind of a moving roadblock for us right now. I will say this about the racing today, it was boring. I mean, I've never liked Auto Club, and I know people have been all rah-rah, yay, Auto Club is such a great track now that it's 20 years old and the surface is aged and it's slick, and when it was new it was terrible, and now that it's old it's slightly better. But I mean, at one point in time Martin Truex Jr. had an 8-second lead, and without the stages, and here you go, here's Matthew just messing everybody up.
Got one inside.
Derek apologizes to me like it's his fault, but
All clear, all clear.
yeah, the one car up there is really a hazard. Me and the 23 both are trying to race him as carefully as possible, I think.
Tend to go with the line.
But even today, at its best, without the stages, I think Truex probably would have won that race by 20 seconds. You know, nobody's going to track him down, and there was not going to be another caution.
Stay low, there's a car on the high side.
So
Stay low.
it's just not a good track. I mean, let's be totally honest. Michigan has never produced great racing. And then this track was kind of built almost as a clone of Michigan. And I know they don't race the same, and I know this track is kind of a multiple lane, multiple groove racetrack. And there we go, I clear the one. He's going to give me a little bumper here, but I'm not letting him back by me. And I don't know what his deal is. He way overdrives his corner. I don't know if he's trying to
I thought I got disconnected.
get after me or what his deal was, but he's gone now. See you later. But Michigan was never the best track to watch, and never really has been. I don't know why we needed another one. And the thing is, this track was built in, or was finished at least in '97. So, you know, it's not like we couldn't have built a better track. We could have built a short track. They could have built something else, but they decided to go for a 2-mile tri-oval, or not tri-oval, kind of D-shaped oval that just does not produce good racing, at least not with stock cars. And I know Penske had a big influence in building this track, which incidentally, I don't think Penske's ever won here. But I'm just not a fan. One thing I am glad is that this track lost it used to have 2 dates, if you remember. Now it's at least down to 1. It doesn't produce good racing. And it never will. You can do whatever you want to these cars, it's not going to produce good racing. Yesterday's race was better, I thought, than today's race. But in the end, neither race was great. I was real happy to see Kyle Larson get a win in both events. I'm really glad to see him doing well, but I would like to see better racing. But that's not a product of the cars or the drivers or anything. It's a product of the track. One thing I will say that's been good about this season so far is we have seen a real diverse group at the front of the field. Last year at this point, it was all Toyota. It was all Toyota at the front, and nobody could touch them. There I am loose again through that corner. This year, I think I looked at the top 10 for qualifying, and it was like Chevy, Toyota, Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Ford, Toyota. You know, there's a very good mix of manufacturers and teams at the front of the field. You don't have one team really just dominating everything. You have kind of, surprisingly, the Ganassi guys with a lot of speed. But we also have guys we haven't seen having speed in a long time. Ryan Newman has a lot of speed, and I'd be interested to see what he'd have done today had he not gotten caught up in that weird initial green flag mess with Keselowski and Harvick and everything, where he got kind of a hole knocked in the front end of his car, which here that's just not going to play well. So the Childress guys have speed, at least the ones that can drive, you know, and by the ones that can drive, I mean the one that can drive, and Ryan Newman. So it's cool to see different guys up in the front. It's cool to see different teams mixing it up in the front and not just Hendrick, Gibbs, Penske. Not that I don't think those guys aren't going to be up front, but, you know, it's nice to see a diverse crowd up there. Other than that, I think the young guys, we see Eric Jones, or Kyle Larson's winning. We've seen Eric Jones having a good season thus far. He's really shown a lot, I think, in the 77 car. I wasn't sure what to think about him. He was in the Gibbs equipment in not in Busch, in Xfinity for the last 2 years, and really last year in Xfinity, if you were in the Gibbs stuff, the difference between those Gibbs Toyotas and the rest of the field in Xfinity was ridiculous. So it was really hard to tell if it was really driver or not. If you remember, they brought in Sam Hornish Jr. last year, I mean off the bench, cold, from having not raced for months. He was substitute teaching. And he came in and absolutely just blew everybody away in a Gibbs Toyota in the Xfinity Series. Here you go, 2 to go. I'm trying to get pretty racy with the 23 to get this position.
You got one inside.
So I wasn't sure what Eric Jones was. I'm not sure what Daniel Suarez is. But I think Eric Jones has shown us he can run up with the big boys. I'm still not sure what Daniel Suarez is. He's now obviously in very good equipment. I don't think you can argue that the Gibbs guys are in bad equipment this year. Certainly not as dominant as they were last year. But he has not been super impressive this season, at least for the first four or five races of the year in Cup. We'll see if that switches around or if that changes. But thus far, the young drivers have been pretty interesting to watch, just to see, I think, what they actually are when they get up into actual competition, where everybody's kind of in good stuff, when you're not in the best car every week. Here we go, we just took the white flag. I'm not going to get this number 23, but we are going to bring it down in 7th position, which for our first race, you know, this is my first try here at Auto Club. Not bad. I didn't wreck, so, you know, that was fun. But again, this track was super fun to drive. I had a blast doing it, and pretty happy with the finish. I would have liked to have been able to get by the 23. I think I might have been a little faster than him had the run gone on a little longer. And I know I sound like a broken record because I say that every race I'm in. If if we could have just gotten a little bit of a longer green flag run, I think I could have done better. But I think the longer the run had gone on, I think I was getting faster and faster than he was. He was one of the faster qualifiers. He qualified almost a full second faster than I had. So the fact that I could run with him right there at the end of the race made me feel pretty good about myself. We're on to Martinsville next week, so if in iRacing, those races tend to be just drive around under caution the entire time. So if I get a decent one that's not that, I will post it. But if it's just, you know, iPacing, then I will not. But, you know, that's it from me here at Fontana. Good race for us. Until next time, guys,
All right, man. That's it. The
keep
race
it out
is
of the
over.
fence.
Sylvester Stallone or whatever your name is.
This guy's
You're
upset.
a piece of shit.
What a great way to end the video.
And that, folks, is how you get banned from iRacing for a week. Congratulations.